you see this line here, the current trajectory of CO2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is from Project Drawdown. Everyone watching can go online and they can go and download this document, which was recently published. So what we're trying to do here is, this is the CO2. We haven't had this much CO2 concentration in the atmosphere. Some people say for 8 million years. Basically humans didn't exist on the planet with this much CO2 in the atmosphere. So we are in uncharted, very dangerous territory. So what we're trying to do is move I don't know where that line just came from, interesting. Move the CO2 levels through obviously changes in how we're consuming and energy levels, but we're also needing to capture the legacy load of carbon from the atmosphere. And so this movement of drawdown is basically a very simple graphic for how plants and biological systems can help us get back to the safe part per million in the atmosphere, which a lot of people argue is below 350. There's a lot of, 350.org. We need to lower the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere to pre-industrial levels, which is more like 280 parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere. To do that, we need to keep moving the carbon down. So regenerative agriculture as a whole is already, the land is sinking carbon, right? So we absolutely, and the oceans are sinking carbon. What we need to do, and these are sinks right here. This shows where the coast and the ocean sinks are sinking 17% of the emissions every year. The land sinks are sinking 24% of the emissions. Drawdown's already happening. So to the point of this conversation, how do you harmonize with that existing action that nature is taking on an annual basis through phytoplankton, through the boreal forests, through agriculture? Mm-hmm. So why agriculture is so important, and Elizabeth, I'd love, you can jump in here and take over on this one. Great. We can harness the soil carbon pool in a way that is very difficult to harness in other systems. Agriculture is the place that's anthropogenically managed. It's where humans actually already are. They're already in the system, they're already managing the system, they are paid to be involved in that system. Yeah. So if we can make these systems, this is the trick, both profitable and make these systems that produce our food, fiber, fuel, flora, if we can make them net sinks, which are these land sinks, we have a very powerful force at work. And I love the work of Dr. Ratan Lal from Ohio State University. Basically a 2% increase in the soil organic carbon levels of the global farmland that's not been paved over, the farmland we have today, could offset all of the emissions on the planet. So you're just like, oh, okay. It's a very powerful resource.